Hello and welcome back to Coffee with a Kick. I don't know why I'm starting off with this vibe, but here we are at the end of all this summer action before the rest of the summer action begins in the Olympics. But Copa America and European Championship 2024 in Germany have been decided, and decided much as we had expected. The only thing that we got wrong this weekend was that you were riding with the Red Boys up there in the America's Top Hat, Canada, but they did not come through with you in the end. We'll go ahead and start there since I brought it up. They did take it all the way to the death of it. You know, it was 2-2 all the way through regular time. No extra time for some reason in the third place game. Just straight to penalties. Yeah. I don't know. Don't ask me. It's not my decision. But Uruguay does prevail 4-3 on penalties after a 2-2 rather exciting match between the two, with Uruguay going up early, Canada coming back, Canada scoring in the 80th, and then Luis Suarez 90+2 gets Uruguay to penalties.
Yeah, I mean, my prediction was 2-1, Canada winning.
So close.
And yeah, so I mean, if anyone was going to do it, it was going to be Suarez. He had a lot of chances in the match. There were so many times where he was wide open and he just couldn't get that final ball. But disappointed in Canada. They should have pulled it out. They didn't. So I'm bummed that my prediction didn't go through.
Might you say he had a lot of bites at the apple? Might you say
yeah,
that?
Well, or the neck or shoulder, wherever else he bites, you know.
Disappointing for Alphonso Davies, though. You know, Canada's main man biffs it there for the fifth penalty, which gave Uruguay the full-on victory there. So, you know, it was still, though, Canada has now matched the U.S. as far as placement in Copa America. The highest the U.S. has ever gotten is fourth place. Canada has now matched that, so that is much to our shame. But, you know, we've talked about our shame plenty this Copa America, so I don't want to dwell on that any longer. We'll move from there to the Euro final there on Sunday, mid-afternoon, 3 p.m. kick time. I would say the lesser of the two finals, in my humble opinion. Now, the goal line may not speak to that because it was 2-1 Spain. But the first half of Spain-England was not much to write home about. It was more like teams were feeling each other out. Neither was really trying to get exposed. And then Spain started off the second half very well with another Nico Williams goal. And then Cole Palmer had great substitution again by Southgate. Who we'll talk about more here in a moment. But Cole Palmer strikes from distance and gets it in before the Oyarzabal gets the winner there in the 86th. But it really felt like it was Spain was the better side. I still think that England did play up to Spain. They played better. This was probably their best game all tournament. But it still wasn't a very good match. I mean, they weren't playing spectacularly or anything.
Yeah, I mean, you saw it right at the beginning of the second half. I think Nico Williams' goal was like the third shot they had within the first 2 minutes.
Very flat coming out of half. It was weird.
Yeah, England, I don't know if they were tired or they just didn't have their minds about them, but really the first 20 minutes of the second half, Spain dominated. Mm-hmm. England grew into it as it went, but if you look at the possession stats, a lot of that possession, I feel like, was second half Spain just dominating the entire game.
Yeah.
The Cole Palmer goal, I mean, out of nowhere,
truly
deadly accurate, stays on the ground, but it's that young center back. I texted you about it. Mm-hmm. You'd think that maybe the experience of Maguire isn't going to let a Oyarzabal continue that run to just be wide open, but young center back loses his man, lets him continue, and it ends up being the reason why you lose.
Yeah, it was a pretty big breakdown there on the second goal. And, you know, after all this is said and done, second European final that England has come short in a row. And Gareth Southgate says, I'll show myself out, is how he ends up going. And after, what was it, 8 years he's been at their head?
Yeah, I think so. I think it was right before it was like right after the 2016 Euros, I believe.
Yeah. Just can't quite get over the hump. And he says, I'll catch you guys later. So, hey, now he's available for the U.S. I don't particularly want him. I did see that Spain's the manager for Spain, his representatives had reached out to the U.S. for some reason. Had you seen that report?
I did not.
I'd seen
that. To me, that's interesting.
That's what I thought.
Out on top, I guess.
I don't know why you would leave Spain. I mean, you've got two real big stars up and coming amongst like the rest of Spain being good as well. You've still got Rodri, and I looked out on there and it was like 5. Is Laporte still on City, or did you guys sell him?
I think he's still on City.
Anyways, it was like 5 of the starters across England and Spain were all Man City players, or recently affiliated if they have sold Laporte recently.
No, we sold him in January to Al Nassr. That's right.
Gotcha. Sent him to Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
Yes, but that's why I thought. That's why I said recent. They all were on the roster for 23-24 City at some point. Which is, that's why City is one of the best, considered one of the best clubs in the world, I suppose. Yeah. There's Luis de la Fuente. That's their coach.
I will speak to the fact that these coaches, especially if they're coaching their nationality, the pressure is immense. Mm-hmm. Like Southgate, right after the World Cup, almost walked away because of the pressure. After Euro 2020, he even talked about we got a lot of backlash for losing. The pressure is immense. And even in the group stages, he talked about, or like right after the group stages versus Switzerland, there were a lot of people in the English media saying we should win 3-0, 4-0. It should be really easy. And he came into the press conference saying, well, maybe they're a smaller country, but this shows that we feel like we just have some sort of entitlement when we actually haven't won anything in 60 years. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if it's the pressure that got to him or just the fan base. And even some of the players afterwards, there seemed to be some unrest between Bellingham and some of the other players. So maybe it was just for him the right time to kind of ease out. The U.S. job is intriguing because you can guarantee a World Cup spot. You can guarantee a team that's good enough to do something if they have the right formation, the right coach. So it really doesn't shock me that some of these guys, the Spain one, it does because he just won the Euros, but even still, why not go out on top with your country? I did what I came here to do. Let me go do something fun, do a project. Who knows? But it will be interesting to see who the U.S. hires eventually. Yeah.
I'm still hopeful. We haven't hired an American yet, so I'm still hopeful. And we'll move from that to our final. Argentina edges Colombia in extra time, and the 112th minute goal by Lautaro Martinez. Now, this, like I said, this match I think this was a better match. I mean, it was rough. It was energetic. People were going at it in this one. This one felt like it had more at stake for some reason than the European final did. And I don't know if that was just the players, the way that the players were playing, but Messi goes down just after halftime. His ankle swells up like a balloon. I mean, definitely proper to sub him off at that point. But they still come through without their captain.
Yeah, this is probably the greatest difference between Copa America type soccer and European type soccer. Copa America, the passion was there, the grit, I don't really care who you are. Mm-hmm. You're wearing the opposite colors. We're at war. When in the European, you see England like they're backing off of guys. They're not even playing like they're in a final. So you really saw that stark difference in this match. And I thought it was, the better team won. Yeah. I thought Argentina played better. But Colombia, they had their chances. They had a couple of free kicks that almost got headers that went in, but they just kept, I mean, probably 5 or 6 of their shots that were off target were barely off target, and they were really good chances. So they had their flowers, but yeah, Argentina faces adversity. And like we've been saying this entire run of Copa America, Argentina is a team that doesn't rely on Messi. Right. They just happen to have Messi, and that's a good thing.
Isn't that such a nice thing? We don't have to have Messi, but it's like super nice to have him around. We can't talk about this match without also talking about the fact that it was delayed by nearly 90 minutes due to I don't know. I guess you would say crowd shenanigans. A bunch of unticketed attempted attendees stormed the gates essentially, and it was not. I don't know. I came into it a little bit late because I'm like, why hasn't the game started? It's like 8:30, and then it just kept going on and on and on. I don't know. I can't tell who exactly is at fault. They're gonna have to look into it because this is one of the host cities for the World Cup, so definitely need to straighten this out. I don't know if it was that the local PD wasn't up to snuff on crowd control, but at one point they just opened the gates and let everyone in somehow. It was a very strange situation, unnerving for a lot of the people in attendance. But they eventually got everything put together, and Shakira even had her halftime show.
Yeah, apparently the organized event is made by CONMEBOL. So any sort of decisions or reinforcement or enforcement has to be done by them. It's not the MetLife Stadium. It's not those people. Okay. They're just like employing. But then CONMEBOL hit back and said that, no, they are your people. They should have, like, we're not on the ground. Like, we're in the press box. So it's just a lot of finger pointing. Either way.
Yeah. Sounds like some other situation that we won't talk about.
Yeah, either way, it feels like this honestly was probably a good thing to happen here because now there's a lot of good preparation that can happen for the World Cup. Yeah, and it'll just to close communication lines, make sure that they're everybody has contingencies. This being put on by CONMEBOL is different than it being put on by FIFA. I mean, they're different organizations, different budgets, different sorts of people who you would bring in, like, the third parties involved. So hopefully I'm sure this will all get straightened out for the World Cup. I'm not concerned about it for the World Cup. It's a bad look, but as far as I'm aware, no one really got injured. There wasn't like a true stampede where people. There's been what was it, a few years ago. There was a stampede at a South American soccer match that it was 12 people died or something. It was crazy. I can't remember exactly. I think that was in Brazil. And it may have been that like a fence fell over because people are trying to climb it. Wow. I'm speaking off of a vague memory here at this point. But nothing like that happened. It appears that everybody's all right. So, good match though. Yeah, and that's all that I have for today. We'll be back at some point with information about how we're going to cover the Olympics. Haven't fully settled on how we're going to do that yet. Yeah, let's look at the first match is Wednesday, July 24th. So we're actually a week away.
Just a week out.
Yeah, a week out from Uzbekistan and Spain. So killer kickoff.
Definitely going to be a difference in quality of opponent at that point for Spain. Well then, we'll see. We'll make a post about it on YouTube about with some scheduling updates here later on. Anyway, until we get there, why don't you go ahead and grab your coffee, watch some soccer.